Hello YouTube family, welcome back, and if you're new, my name is Lakna. I am so glad that you've resonated with my video, and I hope that this gives you some insight and inspiration for the month of March and just what's to come planetarily, energetically. In my channel, I love to talk about Vedic astrology things, related things, numerology and tarot as well. And in this video, I want to talk about the upcoming eclipses for the month of March. We have the first lunar eclipse on the 14th of March, which is happening. The lunar eclipse and full moon is happening in Leo. We still have the nodes. K2 is in Virgo, which is aspecting this eclipse, and then we have Rahu still in Pisces, and this eclipse is the preparation for the nodal shift that's going to take place in May, where Rahu will move from Pisces to Aquarius, K2 will move from Virgo to Leo. So we have that lunar eclipse, and then we have the solar eclipse happening on the 29th of March, happening in Pisces and in the nakshatra called Uttara Bhadrapada. The lunar eclipse is happening in Uttara Falguni. So I want to kind of probably talk about both of these eclipses in this video, because there is like so much symbology and connection with them both, and new moon and full moon cycles do always connect. There is a resonance with the cycles and the closing of the chapter and the beginning of the next chapter. So I do think it's really important for us to understand the connections for this month. This month is the preparation, initiation, activation for us all to go through massive ascension in certain areas of our lives, depending on what's being aspected with these eclipses. So yeah, stay tuned for some of the insights I'm going to be talking about with these eclipses. If you see me looking down, I do have some notes I've written down, and just so I don't miss anything, because there is so much happening with this month and these eclipses, and I don't want to miss anything. So firstly, with this lunar eclipse that's happening March 14th in Leo, this is a lunar eclipse, is a full moon. More intensified though with the aspect of the nodes. So there is an illumination from the moon of hidden things that we haven't been facing, the shadows of our life, and things that we, for whatever reason, haven't been willing to face will rise up to the surface at the time of this lunar eclipse, and honestly probably weeks prior as well, because eclipses carry so much intensity that you do feel the preparation moving into the eclipse and also following the eclipse. There will be lasting effects with the eclipse. It will carry an influence over to the next 6 months at least in our life, so it's a significant day. There can be a culmination of endings, closure, this need for us to let go of certain areas, certain things in our life, particularly where we have Leo and Virgo in our birth chart. So that's really important to have a look at. And if you have any particular planets in Leo or Virgo, this is gonna give you an indication of what is playing out in your life and what areas that you're supposed to be focusing on right now. So K2 is very close to this eclipse, and K2 is the node associated with really spiritually liberating us and helping us release from the material attachments that are holding us back, so that we can be lighter and more free and more in touch with our soul. So thinking about this sign of Uttara Falguni, the specific nakshatra of this lunar eclipse, some of the karmic ties or things, patterns, habits, behaviors that we need to let go of that can come up in this time can be a lot to do with the way that we show up for ourselves and shine our light. Leo is that bright light that, you know, goes out on stage and performs and does all the creative things that you feel called to do, that isn't afraid to lead others and be an inspiration for others and really show up in life. So if there is any karmic limiting beliefs about yourself, Venus started retrograde on the 1st of March, so Venus is still in retrograde leading towards this lunar eclipse, and Venus will be retrograding throughout both of these eclipses, so there is a lot of internal reflection on the way that we feel about ourselves and our self-concept, the way that we love ourselves, and do we respect and honor ourselves so that we can show up in the world in this Leo type of way. And then with Ketu being in Virgo, there is also that Virgo energy and the limiting beliefs around, you know, are we being critical of ourselves and too overly analytical, perfectionistic, or maybe we're not doing enough of that. Maybe we're not doing the, you know, the daily routines and that meticulous hard work and dedication and, like, you know, looking after our health, looking after our diet and exercise and all of these Virgo things that are not necessarily easy, but maybe we need more of that. Maybe we're doing too much of that and we're being too hard on ourselves. Virgo is very critical. So yeah, these are some things to think about. And then also with the nakshatra Uttara Falguni, this is the nakshatra where Shiva and Shakti get married. So it's beautiful. It's like the union and connection of the divine masculine and feminine. However, because there is this beautiful union found here, if, you know, if there is a over or an under of this energy and it is out of balance in your chart, there can be like the feeling of loneliness because you're not giving that love to yourself, or maybe you're in relationships and there's like issues with boundaries or codependency. Another massive one with both Leo and Virgo is the theme of giving versus receiving, and is that imbalance, because in order to be selfless you do need to be selfish. You need to have a really full cup so that you can, you know, it's overflowing to others. That is a big theme I feel for this entire eclipse cycle, is giving versus receiving, because when you're open, when you're truly open to receive, that is that divine feminine flow, which is connected to Venus. Venus is retrograde for this entire month, so we are being asked to reflect on, are we in that open receptive energy of being able to receive the love that we deserve from within and then externally as well. And yeah, if we are open and receptive to that, then our cup is full and then we're able to give so much as well. So another thing is like our self-confidence, putting yourself out there, the leadership roles and things like that that we feel called to do, moving towards our purpose, like courageously. Leo is, you know, the lion that's like super courageous and fierce and like protective of the ones that Leo loves. So it's like that connection with the ones that you love, your family, all of that as well. Standing up for yourself when you need to as well, and standing up for others like in a healthy way. all of that, letting go of anything to do with all of that that is limiting you. And then with the Virgo, the critically thinking of yourself, of others, judging yourself, overthinking, being over perfectionistic, being too hard on yourself, shyness as well when it comes to being seen, like being like being humble, or being like too much pride. Like that is Leo and Virgo sort of imbalances there. Like you shouldn't be too humble, you shouldn't be boasting in a way that isn't true confidence. Like there needs to be a balance with that. Dealing with opposing forces and like enemies and people who judge you or who criticize you, who like things from the outside world, that can come up now as well, because Virgo is the ruler of the 6th house, which deals with all of these difficulties, like setbacks, delays, enemies, like all of these hurdles that life sort of throws at you. It's like that saying, like new levels, new devils. The more that you level up, the more that you grow and ascend, and the more light you hold, the more darkness you're exposed to, and that you get put into situations, I believe, where you have to like prove your strength and prove to yourself that you can overcome those things. So there's this theme of like your heart and your soul versus ego, and really that shadow work is something to reflect on and ask yourself, is all areas of your life, like is there anywhere that is more like that is coming from the ego, and that you can put more heart and soul into. One of the symbols for Uttara Falguni is the back legs of the bed that we sleep on, that we rest on. The bed carries such a huge symbology with these eclipses, because the solar eclipse happening in Pisces at the end of the month will be happening in Uttara Bhadrapada, with the symbology of the back legs of a funeral bed, whereas this lunar eclipse is the back legs of the bed on Earth that we sleep on in more of a grounded material sort of way. And we can see this bed with Uttara Falguni, which has both Leo and Virgo, these two signs being majorly aspected at this lunar eclipse, with being in Leo while Ketu is in Virgo. So the Leo energy of a bed is like resting, rejuvenating, being intimate with your partner or whoever you want to be intimate with, just, you know, resting and enjoying the fruits of your labor in a way, by recharging your soul in that fun, light-hearted way. Then there is also this Virgo sort of energy you can see with the bed, which is like the bed creating a foundation for your life where you can rest and rejuvenate, so that you have the strength to do the things you're supposed to do and to be of service. And the bed can be seen as a place where you help alleviate the suffering for others, being of service, helping others to recharge, to rejuvenate, to revive themselves. So then, looking into the solar eclipse, which is happening on the 29th of March, Pisces, Uttara Bhadrapada, the back two legs of the funeral bed, which we are moving into this energy of really almost being ready to transcend this material world. And at this end phase of this nakshatra is when you gain so much otherworldly knowledge and insight into what that even means. And this nakshatra gives you this feeling of almost being ready to fully liberate yourselves into that otherworldly experience, having that knowledge of what it is to like that life after death experience, connection to the subconscious and your intuition and to otherworldly realms. the afterlife, other dimensions, and really this energy of wanting to let go of the material world. And it's really interesting because this initial phase with the lunar eclipse in Uttara Falguni, there is a lot of this energy of reaping the rewards of our, like the fruits of our hard work and labor, and really learning to enjoy this material existence while also searching for moksha, which is spiritual liberation. And there is this longing of the soul for something deeper. In this star of Uttara Bhadrapada, where we move into in Pisces, there is this real longing to completely disconnect from the material world. But we live here, where we were put here for a reason, to thrive on earth. And I feel that these eclipses really want us to have a balance of the spiritual versus material, and really learning to thrive here while also, yeah, striving on earth, while also striving for so much more spiritual knowledge and awareness and connection to ourselves, to God, to the universe, to whatever it is that we believe in, and just connecting more on a spiritual level. And with Saturn moving into Pisces by the end of the month, there's going to be such a massive shift in our sense of spiritual responsibility, and just really moving towards our purpose and what our soul is calling for, and less of what our ego is telling us what to do. So moving into the solar eclipse, which is happening on the 29th of March, there is going to be so much activity happening in Pisces, which is a super psychic and spiritual sign. And also with this eclipse sort of portal happening, whatever sign an eclipse portal is happening in, there is heightened psychic energy. But especially with so many planets moving into Pisces, there's going to be so much psychic energy, especially if you are psychically, spiritually sensitive and aware. You're going to be feeling this. During an eclipse phase or portal, there is heightened emotions, heightened sensitivities, just a lot of more, like the veil is thin basically. So we are more open to psychic, supernatural activity and things like that. So I do believe it's important not to be afraid, but to be extra protective of your energy, and just stay low, a bit more low-key when you can. It's not the best time to like start any new projects in the time of these eclipses, because there is a lot of energy wanting to literally eclipse things out of our life at this time. With the solar eclipse, there is the new moon, which does signify a new beginning, which is really powerful. This new beginning does require a lot of shifts to take place, and a lot of endings, a lot of closure, a lot of sort of filtering out all of the baggage that is holding us back from this new beginning. So this new beginning is happening in the sign of Pisces, with the sun and the moon, Rahu, Venus, Mercury, Neptune, all in Pisces. And Saturn will be moving into Pisces on the day of this eclipse as well. A few hours post eclipse, that Saturn will be moving also into Pisces, which is a massive shift happening. And with this Piscean energy, there's going to be more empathy, emotional energy, intuition, connection to the subconscious, otherworldly realms, the dream life, the astral life, and huge connection to the element of water, creativity, intuition, like spiritual sort of themes can come up. So I mentioned with this sign, Uttara Bhadrapada, that it's connected to the back legs of the funeral bed. So the back two legs of the funeral bed, which is the symbol of this nakshatra Uttara Bhadrapada, I mentioned there are these themes coming up with like our access being more open to otherworldly realms and dimensions and spaces and insights that are really going to help us understand what it is that is really holding us back and keeping us trapped in this sort of these loops of the material world, and what is going to help us transcend that so that we can be lighter and more free. The solar eclipse is really calling for ascension, for spiritual growth, for spiritual awakening, which we are all going through if we're open to that, if we're ready to release some of the things weighing us back. The ruler of Uttara Bhadrapada is Saturn, and I mentioned this new moon solar eclipse is happening in Pisces in Uttara Bhadrapada. Then not long, few hours after this solar eclipse, Saturn makes this major shift into Pisces from Aquarius. So this new moon solar eclipse is like the initiation point for this shift of Pisces in Saturn energy, which is going to be a major shift affecting every single one of us. And I feel that what this is bringing up, the biggest theme to do with Saturn moving into Pisces, is our essential need for us all to take spiritual responsibility to really connect with our soul and make sure that everything in our life is soul based and really, heart and soul based, and that we're not coming from ego. Saturn is going to bring in this powerful material grounding force and remind us to take, the disciplinary action and do the daily tasks and things in this material world to ground all of that otherworldly awareness and connection to our intuition, to the subconscious, to other dimensions, to our creativity, to our emotional world and our sensitivity, and even being like sensitive and psychic and in tune with others. Like that requires boundaries. If you are someone with strong Pisces energy, it's like that is such a hard thing to have boundaries with people, because you literally sometimes don't know how. You're just like so psychically open to everything. Saturn is going to help us understand how to have those boundaries and how to deal with this spiritual energy in this material world. And it's not a coincidence that we have the lunar eclipse happening in Uttara Falguni, which is wanting us to really strive in this material world while also striving for that deep spiritual connection. Another super interesting thing is I see this connection with Saturn and the sun. In Vedic astrology, Saturn is the son of the sun. So even though in Vedic astrology, at least, these two planets, they don't get along, they are very deeply connected. So maybe that is trying to tell us something as well about our connection with our family, with our, like, why is the Saturn and the sun not getting along? Like, what is it within us? Have a look at where you have your Saturn and your sun. That can tell you a lot about where you have internal conflicts that need healing. Saturn and the sun are combust throughout this whole eclipse. So both eclipses. So there is this intense energy where they're really butting heads, and the lunar eclipse is happening in a nakshatra which is ruled by the sun, and Uttara Falguni is ruled by the sun, and in the sign of Leo, which is also ruled by the sun. So the sun is trying to tell us a lot. The sun is our pure light consciousness within us that really we should be tapping into so readily and listening to. It's like what our soul radiates is is our sun, and it's our ability to really show up for ourselves and to shine our light, to be the leaders in our life and to do the things that we want to do courageously and put ourselves out there, that light that gives us that radiance from within when we feel confident and worthy of that. That is being connected to our sun, and it's being connected to our light source, really. Saturn is also connecting with this sun energy, and we're being asked for them to be in harmony and in balance, and for that to happen, we need to also really honor the Saturnian things in life and how important that is, of doing all of the hard things, being disciplined in our life, taking action and doing the hard things, being resilient over all the hurdles and obstacles that come up and pushing through. That is very Virgo as well, with the 6th house being really influenced because Ketu is in Virgo, and these are the nodes being influenced with these eclipses, Virgo and Pisces. So yeah, overcoming all of the hurdles, the obstacles, the setbacks, the delays, and the like enemies and people who try and put you down, like standing up for yourself with that sun energy, having that light to really, like that light that just drowns out all of the darkness. Saturn is also to do with the boundaries I mentioned, with this Piscean energy moving into the new moon solar eclipse. So really having strong boundaries when you need to. You can be psychic, you can be sensitive, emotionally aware and tapped in, but it's like, as much as you want to, you can be open and giving and selfless, but you also need to have boundaries when it's necessary, when you know that you've done enough, or that you need to take a step back, that you need to refill your own cup. Because I mentioned in the beginning of the video, a big theme for these eclipses is the theme of giving versus receiving. So Venus is also retrograde this entire month, and Venus is the planet of love, and it is this really divine feminine energy. The feminine energy is all about receiving and being open and in flow and in harmony with this universe, which also requires you to be free and be open to receiving all of the things that are wanting to come to you. Do you feel worthy of receiving that? Do you give to yourself? And the more that you give to yourself, the more that you're able to give to others. That is a big theme for these eclipses. The sacred animal found in Uttara Bhadrapada is the 5 cows of Shiva, and in the sacred animal of Uttara Falguni is Nandi, the bull of Shiva. And there are similarities here with the bull and the cows that are connected to Shiva. And in Uttara Falguni, Nandi is teaching us about those more rajasic qualities that really help us strive on earth, like really pushing towards your goals, being resilient and stubborn while like aiming for the goal and just going for it, and being really strong, like the physical strength as well in the bull. And then with the 5 cows of Shiva, there is this really divine, sacred wisdom that comes from those 5 cows of Shiva. And there is these themes to do with penance and perseverance and connection to the divine, and really honoring and being like respectful of that energy, really. So it is a really powerful time, I think, to, if you have the opportunity to connect with this animal, a powerful time to really connect with animals and the ocean and all forms of life, and to really pay your respects and honor and reverence to all beings and all life forms. And you know, especially to yourself in this time. Like, take the time to meditate, to go within, to reflect, to do the shadow work, to allow the painful, heavy things that want to come up, to actually give yourself the time and space to hear and feel and to see all of the things that want to arise in this time. It's a good time to just stay low-key, if you, as much as you can. And yeah, I hope that you all have such a powerful illumination and culmination of events that help you really transcend all of the things that are holding you back, so you can live a better life, live a life that is more aligned with your soul and your heart and your path and your purpose. And following this eclipse, we will be having massive shifts taking place with this Piscean energy moving forward. We also have Mercury going retrograde on the 15th of March, the day after the lunar eclipse. I forgot to mention that. So there is just a lot of introspection and internal work going on to help us heal ourselves and just tap back more into what our soul and what our heart needs. And yeah, there's a lot of internal introspective work happening, and people from the past can show up either in real life or in memories, and like, it's all coming up for our healing and to help us understand ourselves deeper and really understand life on the deepest level as well. So I hope that you all have such a healing, transformative, and powerfully activating eclipse season this month of March, and I will see you all in my next video.